Thank you so much, Christy. Well, this morning, the World War II Museum will honor servicemen and women who gave their lives in the line of duty.
Andres Fuentes has more on the details about the Memorial Day ceremony.
Right, the World War II Museum is expecting a lot of family and loved ones of service members who've passed to come down here to the museum and have their loved ones remembered in their commemoration service. Now, the organizers really want the service to be a very solemn remembrance for families, for veterans, and their guests. They expect to see a really packed crowd here at the museum with guest speakers, a Medal of Honor recipient, the Victory Bells, and a local American Legion band all taking the stage. Thousands of people have already made the trek to New Orleans this holiday weekend, especially just for this museum. They see it as a way to educate themselves about the men and women who bravely served in the U.S. Armed Forces.
It's about family and also remembering family and what they have done for us in the past and what they continue to do right now.
We elected to do a couple more days in New Orleans because it's been a while since we've been here.
Now, the Memorial Day celebration, or I should say commemoration, will be starting at 11 o'clock this morning, but the doors here at the World War II Museum will open up at 9 o'clock this morning, so you do have a chance to spend your entire day here at the museum and, again, commemorate all those who've lost their lives in the line of duty. Now, if you can't make it to the Memorial Day commemoration, you could live stream that on the museum's website. It's going to be all that information right there for you once you log on in. But for now, reporting live, Andres Fuentes, Fox 8, Local First.